So my next port of call is the pleasure of introducing the ultimate hype man, lifelong Easton resident. Everybody knows him, Mr. Joshua Peach.
Can everybody in the back hear me if I just talk, or is the microphone better? Good, all right. Everybody welcome Neil Levine to the party. So he's got stuff to say. Thankfully, he's in the corner. 107 people registered tonight. There's 97 of you. That means 90.3% of you showed up. My junior high school teacher is in the audience. That's why I'm doing my math, so I can really impress her and let her know I know my stuff. But for 97 people to come out tonight, it's kind of a big deal. It's cold. We got families. Got a lot of stuff going on. Who watches the news? Who watches the news? Hands up. Don't lie. Y'all watch the news. Just about all of you watch the news. At some point, you're watching the news. Guess what was in the news in the last 2 weeks? Google let go of 22,000 employees. Salesforce got rid of 8,000 employees. All these companies, these tech companies, are all firing and laying off people. And I was getting depressed because I was watching the news. And I was getting upset about things. And Isabel asked me to talk to you guys for 15 minutes, and I was upset about that because in 2020 I got an hour. I also had a nightmare last night that she kept saying, "You let me down. You let me down." She asked me if I was going to wing it tonight, and I said, absolutely not, and that's what I'm going to do. But I started to get depressed because I was hearing these things. And then friends of mine that are in the tech space, because I do a lot of speaking to companies in the tech space, started calling me and saying, I lost my job. I'm unemployed now. If you know anybody, can you help me out?
I need somebody in my office.
Well, we'll get your card. You're so energetic, I think I want to work for you. And all I had on my mind was I had to go to Northeastern Dental Associates to go see Scott Unison team to get a tooth pulled. That was my problem. And I walked in and I said, I'm here to get on the pain train and cry with everybody. But it was a pleasurable experience. It's a tough thing to say, right? Getting your tooth pulled was a pleasurable experience. And that's because the people at the front office were all smiling and laughing. That's because the dentist that pulled my tooth and Anthony, the dental assistant, were actually like going back and forth while they had my mouth open, yanking this tooth out. One saying, it doesn't look that bad, and the other one says, oh yes it does. I found myself when I was done saying, how did I do? That's pretty cool. Still hurts a little bit. And then I had to go and take my 15-year-old in. And they said, oh, good news. We can't help you, but Halverson can. For those things they call braces. And I went over there, and you know what I found? A happy team welcoming us. A group of people that have been there forever. Deb, who's worked in the office for 22 years. And then I got my bill from Morse Insurance. Y'all got some of those, right? I've had 31 annual renewal notices from Morse Insurance since I was 16 and a half years old, and I pulled up in front of their office and saw Mr. Morse, and he gave me a talking to about the responsibilities of driving a 1987 Subaru station wagon, 5-speed, 4-cylinder, 0 to 60 in 13 minutes. I don't think we need to have a talk about how fast I can drive. Not that fast. But I've paid an annual renewal for 31 years to Morse Insurance. Do I get the best price? I don't know. I get the best service. I know that lizard and that duck aren't coming to my house and helping me when water's coming through my roof. But the Morses did. I love you. What's your name?
Mary. Talk to Mary.
Mary. Mary's going to talk next year. Mary's going to talk next year. All this stuff around the country is going bad. And what's not is what's in this town. And I think we live in a little bit of a bubble. I travel all around the country. I've spoken in 46 states and 6 provinces in Canada. I've given over 700 keynotes around the country. And every time I drive home, I drive one way. And I live on the absolute opposite end of town. I live in this place called South Easton. And you go past Big Y and Target, way past it. You almost get to Norton. As a matter of fact, sometimes I get to my house and I think I'm in Norton. That's how far out of the way I am. But the way that I drive home every time I come home is down Main Street. I never not drive down Main Street. It is the most out of the way for me to go, but that tells me I'm home. And it's because of the businesses and the people in this town that tells me that. It's because of the perseverance and the hard work and the weathering of storms and getting through the worst recession. Even Tony Robbins, if anybody follows him, I spent 5 days in a virtual setting with him last week. He's calling this an economic winter. When Tony Robbins talks depressing, that's when we start to get really scared about stuff, right? But you don't see that here. You see people looking out for one another. ECAT, hey. I got an email from Adam at ECAT on Monday or Tuesday. And he said, hey, we got this podcast studio that we'd love for you to check out and maybe record your podcast. Why? I mean, I am in the top 3% of all podcasts, which is pretty cool. Heidi Clisco, who's yelling, was talking about an episode she didn't know that I actually recorded, so we'll talk about that later. Super fan. But why did he call me? He called me because Chris Mills said, hey, you got to talk to this Josh Peach guy. He's got a podcast. It's really cool. And then I go in and I find out that Samantha Godfrey brought my name up when she went in to do a podcast and said, you should talk to him. How does Samantha Godfrey know me? Because her dad's a mechanic in town. But better yet, her father, Herb, has known me since I was 10 years old, who sadly passed away recently. Relationships are important. That's what gets you weathering through the storms. Caring about one another is what's important. This program that you're seeing on the table tents is important. If you're on LinkedIn, connect with me. This morning, Isabel put a post on about something I never thought about. Taking your family pictures down when you're selling your house to protect your family. That's good content. That's powerful stuff. Isabel's going to sell my house. I shared that post. My house isn't for sale yet for those that are excited. But I shared that post. What does the power of my care for Isabel mean in this room? 97 people. What does it mean in social media? I have over 5,000 followers that are mostly local that now just saw Isabel is doing something great by providing educational content for people that might be in the real estate business. We need to expand our reach this year. We need to look out for one another. We need to take care of each other more than ever because we are in an economic winter. We are going to experience lots of challenges. Many people are losing their jobs. There's a lot of tech people in business that live in our town that are losing our jobs. We have to be more sympathetic. We have to be more empathetic. We need to realize that the grass is not always greener on the other side. All that glitters isn't gold. And there's a lot of struggle going on. 1 in 3 people in the United States today is dealing with some form of depression. There's 97 people in here. Crap. Why couldn't it be 99? 32 and a third. 32 and a third of you are dealing with something that's unimaginably painful, that is ridiculously difficult. I'm sad tonight because I'm here, and the last time I was here was for my grandmother's after party after she passed away, 5 days shy of being 100 and a half just after Thanksgiving. That's heavy on me right now. So you really got to look at other people. But the most important thing this year that we need to do is we need to take care of one another more than we ever had. More than COVID. COVID was easy. Right now it's hard. And I think a lot of people would agree with me on that. I think it's wonderful what this chamber has done in the last 3 years, what it's accomplished. The board is entirely made up of volunteers with the exception of Lisa. We dedicate our time, we dedicate our effort to grow membership, to deliver value, to provide you guys with opportunities to grow your businesses, to grow your network, to grow your reach. You want to join the board? That'd be great. But be more supportive this year. Come to events. Meet one another. I challenge you all, there's a contest. Find somebody you don't know. Find somebody you don't know in here and take a picture with them. And if they're not on social media, get them on social media. I think social media is a damn devil, by the way. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I haven't made a post on Facebook forever. I do it for my business. I do LinkedIn for my business. I do Instagram for my business. You should do it for your business. You don't need to tell me all your life stories and everything else. I like you, but I don't need to know when you're going away or when your cat needs to be fed. But look out for one another. Find the good businesses. Make a difference. Be supportive. Your good words go a long way. It's really hard today because everybody expects the best and reports the worst. Last thing I want to share with you is there's one big thing that happens in this town that I think is often overlooked, and it's our public servants. Across the board. Our education institutions are fantastic, doing the best job that they possibly can. Is it perfect? No. Are our streets perfect? No. They need work sometimes. Politics isn't easy. But I want you to think about one thing. As a business owner in this town, last year alone, the Easton Police Department took 18,000 calls. It's approximately 51 a day, 2.3 an hour. I got the fire departments a little bit later, so I couldn't use my mental calculator. It's about 4,000 calls. Doing 24-hour shifts. Going home for a day and doing 24-hour shifts again. It's really important that we recognize those people for keeping our town safe, for people to want to live, learn, and work in. We really need to do that right now, more than ever. Don't be afraid to say thank you. Make gratitude your attitude this year. The last thing I'll tell you, after I told you the last thing that I tell you, I just realized I skipped over something, so I didn't wing it. Where the hell did Isabel go? She magically moved. But the last thing I'll tell you is about that news, and it's about anything negative, and I'm not saying take it out of you. It's there. Life's not easy, but it can be fun. But I did a podcast with a friend of mine, an inspiration. His name is David Cooks. Look him up. He wrote a book called From Paralysis to Purpose. He became paralyzed at the age of 15. And we're talking about all this bad stuff that's going on in the world. Doing some stinking thinking. And I said, man, can you believe this happened? Can you believe this is happening? Can you believe this is happening? He goes, yeah, I'm not participating. I said, what are you talking about you're not participating? He says, I'm not participating. I'm not going to participate in what's going on that I can't control. That isn't good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to participate in the things I can control and make them good. And I'll challenge all of you to do the same because I've been doing it for the last 2 weeks. And other than this tooth getting pulled, it's been pretty good. Congratulations to all of you for making it here tonight, for having your businesses, for growing your business, for making a difference in your community. I hope I get to come back next year and do at least 5 minutes. So if you can submit a good review, maybe 5-star, Yelp, something, that'd be great. It's been a great honor for me to have the opportunity to live in this town for 47 years. Place I call home. I raised my kids, my mom, my grandmother, everybody lives here. It's a really special place. We often overlook it. So enjoy the heck out of this town because there's not many places like it. Enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you very much.